Well, why not? Nick Maroney was. He got with all three Logan sisters. If Beth had still been around, he probably would have gotten with her too.
Oh, well, and he was with Taylor, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and he was with Taylor. Yeah, Nick's probably worse than Brooke in that way.
Yeah, I mean, hey, she's been with all the Forrester men. I tied her in with somebody else who did the same thing in the family. I was like, is she better or worse than Reva Shane? I said,
yeah.
I said, well, at least with Reva, no, she did. She was with Josh, and then she also had a thing with Billy, and then the dad with HB.
Right.
So, yeah.
I guess Reva and Brooke could probably get together and go bowling and have lots to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like, way to keep it in the family. Let's talk about that, you know?
I know. I never have to change my monograms.
Not at all. And then
or my checkbooks, yeah.
and then with Sheila coming on in '92, I was totally enamored with the show at that point. I mean, it really did a huge changeover when they brought her on. That was around the time Lauren Koslow had left the show, so I didn't really get to see much more of Margot after that point.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I did see her on there as Margot for like a little bit, but not as much. But she was officially gone by that point by the time Kimberlyn came over. And
oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. Yeah, it was like about a year in between, I think.
So it was interesting to watch her over there with a new set of people and going against Susan Flannery a lot. And I thought that was fun. I will be honest, I loved Sheila's relationship with Brooke Logan. I really did think Sheila liked Brooke. I really do. I think
so.
I think that Sheila really did consider Brooke as her friend, even post the goodbye party.
Right.
Even during the goodbye party, I really do think that she considered her as a friend.
She didn't want to hurt Brooke. She just wanted to hurt the other people.
Primarily Stephanie and Lauren, but...
right. And James.
And you know what's funny about the difference between Y&R and B&B with the Sheila-Lauren rivalry? Lauren was not scared of Sheila on The Bold and the Beautiful at all. She was more terrified of Sheila in Genoa City than she was in Los Angeles. Like,
that's kind of wild.
I was like, is it the Los Angeles air? Like, what caused you to...
Yeah, you know, that smog just dulls your senses or something. Yeah.
Well,
maybe at that point, Lauren was so used to Sheila and her, shenanigans. Like at first, maybe she was more startled by it, but then she got used to it. She figured out how to fight it or something. I don't know. It's different writers, of course, too. Even though the shows are connected.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that because I never really saw the original run of Lauren and Sheila on Y&R. I kind of picked up on most of that through flashbacks on B&B.
The original run, I mean, it was very interesting to see their rivalry come into full circle on that show. I mean, when they first had the interaction, I even watched their first interaction. They didn't even know each other yet, and she was having cramming with the baby and everything, and you just see Sheila looking at her when she hears the name, like, oh my God, it's Lauren Fenmore. Like, why does this bother you so much? Look. And there was an instance where she comes up to Sheila and they have this little exchange saying that you not to mess with me kind of thing. You don't know who you're messing with. You know who you're dealing with. This is Lauren saying this to Sheila. And, at the time, we didn't know exactly how evil Sheila could get, especially after dealing with Sean, who buried her alive.
Oh, right. That's right.
So so then you see exactly the full extent of Sheila's evilness come into play, especially when she gets that black market baby and switches it and snags Scott and everything. And, there was this one point, let's get together and talk. Oh, that's right, your baby died, she says it on the phone. So I don't really think Lauren was ever really scared of Sheila per se in the beginning when the rivalry kicked off. It wasn't until she took her hostage to the farmhouse with Molly was when she really got a taste of what Sheila was really like.
Well, yeah, because that would do it.
And that was pretty much when I think the full-blown craziness came in. And then when it transitioned over to The Bold and Beautiful and Eric and Sheila were about to get married, and again, Lauren has no idea that Sheila is the wife, or the soon-to-be wife, of Eric. So, she was dying to meet the wife and everything, and Sheila introduces herself, and then it just brings back a flood of emotions, and the pictures, the puzzle pieces.
The puzzle, yeah.
The puzzle.
That was epic. That whole thing was epic.
I loved the puzzle. That was so much fun to watch. The puzzle was
and all the way through
fun.
all the way through the wedding too. I was working at a hospital at the time in the file room, and of course this was before you could stream anything or what have you. It's like, so rather than wait, I would on my lunch I would sneak down to the waiting room, to see what was going on with was Lauren going to stop Sheila's wedding to Eric? Oh my God! And I will never forget the crowd around that TV. We were all just on the edge of our seats, like the nurses and patients and visitors are all get crammed around this TV in the waiting room to see whether or not Lauren was going to stop the wedding. And that image always stuck with me. It's like, that's how epic this stuff was. I don't think there's really a counterpart to that today, but but back then that is just it was so intense, and just the way it was written and the performances and everything. It was just. It was that gripping that we all just had to stop what we were doing.
I remember the image that I had left in my head was when they had the wedding cat fight. Well, when Sheila was in the dress and they had the fight, and it ended on that image of Sheila with the fireplace poker at Lauren's face, and I just remember that image being instilled in my head, and I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next?
And we were all there. We were all going, oh my God. Or the 1993 version of, oh no, she didn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we didn't say that yet, at least not in the lexicon. But that's a funny thing, is because I know I shouldn't love the Sheila Lauren cat fights as much as I do, but they're so awesome, and they just...
No, you should. They were entertaining to watch.
Maybe TV has just gotten too PC now, but that whole boring 2-year thing with Hope and Steffi fighting over Liam. The entire time I kept thinking, why aren't these two smacking the crap out of each other?
Even when it was
good old cat fight.
Even when the Steffi Katie thing, when it was going on with Dollar Bill, I was like, Katie could basically eat Steffi for lunch. And
Katie could throw down. She's from the Valley.
She is from the Valley, and her sister is the slut from it. So,
yep.
So I'm sure Katie can hold her own. Trust me, Brooke slapped Katie when Nick and her were together, and
that's right.
She slapped the taste out of Katie's mouth because of what she was doing to her daughter. So, so trust me, there's no doubt in my mind she could have threw down, but they didn't go that route.
Yeah. I think I get this feeling that because we're kind of in this PC tiptoey kind of era, that the folks are backing off of a good old-fashioned cat fight. The closest I saw, I don't watch Empire, but somebody had posted on Facebook that one cat fight scene with Cookie, and I'm like, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do a cat fight. Why aren't we seeing this once in a while? Why can't it be 6 months or so? Come on, guys.
This is what a lot of people love to see on a soap opera, is those cat fights. And then
because you can't do it in real life without getting arrested. So it's like, we want to see people on TV acting out our aggression.
I hope that the fact that Sally Sussman and Kate Alden are coming back to the Young and Restless, I hope that they write a cat fight in there. I know Sally is known to doing that Generations cat fight. I was like, please put a cat fight in your script somewhere, because I would be dying to see it. I would love to see a cat fight. I haven't really sat down for an episode of Y&R in so long. I still follow it. But, I think I was getting my car fixed a few months ago, and it was on, and I'm like, wait a minute, who are these people? Sure.
I'm like, wow, has it been that long?
Has it been that long? I don't know who these characters are, and I get it. Trust me, I do. And, I'm
But
always
I feel
here.
disloyal because, I mean, I was all up in Y&R like all through the 90s and then into the early aughts, and then I just sort of, I don't know, got busy or something, and it was like, oh, okay. But I still, I still go online and read about them all the time. So I at least have a peripheral idea of what's going on. And of course now, I've been writing for Soap Central for 7 years, so it's like with Bold and Beautiful, I have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I write about this, so it's like
You got to keep up.
Okay, you got to keep up. I mean, I don't watch it every week. Yeah, on my off weeks, I usually just read about it. But yeah, I do have to keep up. Like I did back up. I wrote my column this weekend, and I actually did back up into the previous week's episode because I wanted to see RJ's return. And I was like, okay, they didn't age him too much. I mean, in real time, he'd be 12. He looks to be about 16, 17. Okay, that's not bad.
Right.
His voice is deeper than mine will ever be, but whatever.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I know, right?
Oh man, I'm still upset at the fact there's only like 4 shows left. I mean, I really am.
I know.
Like, as I said, I think recently, a week or so ago, it's been 6 years. I can't believe it's been that long. 6 years since World Turns went off the air.
Yeah.
And I remember getting so many messages on my Facebook about its last day because they knew how much I loved it from a lot of my soap friends. And then I was just sitting there going like, I know, this pains my heart. And I watched the episode. I didn't watch it live because I had to work, but I watched it when I got home because I did record it. And it was that last scene when it goes to the globe on the table spinning. I broke down and started crying. Broke down and cried. I literally did. It just took that little moment to where I just broke down and started crying. I was just like, damn, I'm going to miss these people in Oakdale so much.
Well, because they're a part of our lives for years and decades at a time. I mean, our whole lives, and then suddenly to have that gone, it's very strange. I felt that way with Guiding Light too.
I never would have imagined seeing those shows go off the air. Maybe that was me taking it for granted, but and maybe it wasn't. But it was just the idea that I thought they would be around for longer periods of time, and especially with how many years Guiding Light had under its belt.
I know.
But I never would have imagined hearing the words, especially on April Fool's Day, Guiding Light's canceled. I was like, that's the worst April Fool's joke I've ever heard in my life. So,
yeah, and then it turns out to be true.
And then it turns out to be true. And then it turned out to be true, and I said, okay, this is awful. And then watching that end, and then shortly after that, within 2 months, then it was announced that World Turns was canceled. That broke me to pieces. And then a year later, then All My Children, One Life to Live go.
Mm-hmm. And it really kind of felt like it was the end of the genre because the way the shows were just dropping off. I'm like, what's next here?
Not to mention the fact that when they were announced cancellation in the same day, in the same breath. I was like, I could not believe I just sat here and just heard 2 shows getting canceled in the same day at the same time.
Yeah, for many months after that, I was like, nope, it's over. They're all going to be gone within a couple of years. I'm amazed 6 years later that there's only 4, but they're still there. Amazing.
They're still here. And even I felt that in that retrospect. I literally did sit here and I said, once those 2 were gone, I said, oh my God, they're going to go. They're going to go by 2015. They're done.
Surprise, we're still here.
I'm glad I was proven wrong, Gomer Pyle, but but I really was. I was happy obviously happy that they're still here, but we had that in the back of our minds about the fact that it is a dying genre. I think everybody and their mother said it, and I was one of those people. And then these articles came out of the resurgence of the daytime drama. It's interesting when you hear that longtime viewers of other shows now found comfort in the shows that we still have. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of